Check it out. Thursdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, noon Eastern. A healthy dose of Jersey Girl wisdom. Live with revjerseygirl. Sponsored by New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.
Greetings. Hello, everyone. Good to be back here with you. This is Michelle Wadleigh, Jersey Girl, and revjerseygirl, Jersey Girl Wisdom, here with you for the fourth lesson from the four agreements. I've been doing a series, and no, I'm not going on to the fifth agreement. I just kind of like the simplicity of the four agreements, so that's what I stick with. And if you notice, I've been talking to you every week about the construction in my home and all the chaos. Well, have you know, we are on the other side of the chaos, and there's some empty bookshelves where is it? Some empty bookshelves there, but soon we'll have everything back in place, and life will be in a state of calm. Certainly for me, I'm sure you were fine, but it's been a little crazy. But so today, well, let me catch up real quick. The first agreement is always be impeccable with your word. Now, this meant a lot, I'm sure, when Don Miguel Ruiz wrote it, created it, and put it together in one of the agreements. But I had a suspicion early on that it might have meant way more to people who are in New Thought metaphysical teachings, especially within the science of mind. And the reason is because we are so clear about how we co-create our world. So to be impeccable with our word is to really be conscious and take true responsibility for everything that comes out of our mouth. For everything, every word, every thought, because it's all part of the texture and the inner landscape, which creates the outer landscape. So it's just so important that that we for us, because we know how that works, to the degree that even though because I remember back in the day, this is 20 years ago, meeting a number of Toltec practitioners. I knew they knew their own teaching, clearly, all right? But I didn't get at the time about the co-creation in the way that we get that. So being impeccable with your word was really important. And then, of course, that continues on to the practice of non-gossip, which, as I say every time, that I think should have been its own agreement, because there is no socially accepted negative influence as much as gossip. Gossip happens. I mean, this whole new thing with facts. What do you call it? Oh my God, what's the term for incorrect facts that they're using during the whole political campaign? My brain is a little short right now. But in gossip, you can get away with a lot. And you can get away from everything by being unkind, lying. And it's all under the realm of gossip. And the truth is that the newscasters, there's an awful lot of gossip. If you read a newspaper, it might have, this much facts, and then the rest of it is just filler. So learning to be clear, to be in integrity, to speak words so that, and I like to say this, so that when you leave the room, you fake news. Thank you, Simone. Bless your little heart. Thank you. Fake news. Couldn't think of it. I love when someone helps me out here. But when we gossip, we are deteriorating the fiber of our own being. And so much of our conversations, individuals often do not realize that it's gossip. Now, gossip is a hard thing to describe, and so I'm going to give you the definition that I use. Once again, you may use it or not. You don't have to agree with anything I say. But the what we created years ago, the meaning was when you speak about anything or anyone other than your personal experience of that thing or that person. In other words, I might say to you, "Oh, that's Simone. She's a busybody. She has to come on Facebook and say something." Okay, now I'm gossiping about her. But if I say to you, "Wow, I really didn't feel good about what happened," now I'm talking about me. So there's a major difference there. And Simone is my stepdaughter, so we're cool. And I don't feel that way at all. So it's very important that you learn, because what happens is everything that comes out of your mouth lands somewhere, especially around children and grandchildren. So it's important that we realize that as we're creating this world, somebody's receiving it. If it's not your story, it's not your story to tell. Absolutely, Kate. If it's not your story, it's not your story to tell. That's really, really simple. Perfect. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And Simone's dad is my ex-husband. So yeah. So we were the interesting thing is that because he and I were very dedicated to that, even during our divorce, which, no divorce is happy, but we maintained a friendship afterwards that has still lives till today. And that comes from being willing to be in integrity and not gossip. Okay. So then number 2 is, always be impeccable. I'm sorry. I'm laughing at myself. I think I'm a little giddy at how relaxed I am. It's been so stressful around here. What's the second agreement? Never take anything personally. There you go. Never take anything personally. Oh my God, what an important agreement. What an incredibly important agreement. Because if I choose not to take something personally that someone has said to me, okay, just some random person. If I take something personally, number 1, I'm using their language to beat me up. There you go. Bless you, Diego. I'm using their language to put myself down. Okay. That's the first part of it. Now, if you really, really want to be an expert metaphysician, spiritual being in the world, weaving love and possibility, what you want to understand that if, let's say, Bobby Joe says something to me and I choose to take offense and then I react to it, the moment I react to it and I believe it, I also create him as an offender. Do you catch that? But if I don't pick it up, it stays in his court. If I pick it up, I'm adding to the detriment of who this person is. So by choosing not to take things personally, I'm actually keeping my mind, my heart clear, and I'm supporting this other individual who unwittingly, and I say unwittingly because I think people in their highest and the best will not choose to be unkind, although it happens, okay? So when we are grounded in who we are, in the strength of our being, we act, speak, and come from kindness. We are impeccable with our word because I know my word creates. And I don't take things personally that you have said or someone else has said because I don't want to give power to it. Okay. The third agreement is don't make any assumptions. This is a little bit of a tougher one to recognize, but very, very important, because if we walk around making assumptions about what we think we know about somebody, we once again are not giving room for them to be who they are. We're not giving room. And that's a very important thing. You are, and then you will be behaving in a way of what you think you know about that person, what you think you know about that person, and not who they truly are. Okay. Number four. Now, when I teach the four agreements in workshop form, or it is hard. It is hard. Not taking things personally is a tough one. You have to be really strong and grounded. And you have to learn that. So I'm backtracking for a minute, as you notice, folks, that if you're grounded, when you're grounded, you can free yourself from a lot of pain and suffering. Now, the backside of that, while you're not taking something personally, the other part of it is don't let your mind, if something doesn't come out of your mouth, but you're thinking it, it's still working. You want to find a place of truth and power that you can carry, whether you're speaking it out loud or not. For example, let's say my husband says something unkind to me. If I steel myself against saying something out loud, okay, that's one way. But if I'm in my mind, and while I'm in there thinking, who does he think he is? And why does he do that? And blah, 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 blah. Remember, the activity of your mind is still activity of your being. And I just want to say that again. The activity of your mind is still the activity of your being. So it is very important that you are grounded and steady in your practices, in the silence, in the busyness of your mind, and in your spoken word. It all has to come together in one place. And remember, don't just do this. Do this with the understanding that the reward for all of this, the absolute reward, is freedom. What you're looking at is freedom. Okay. Number four, and as I was about to say before, oh, yes, always do your best. Now, this is where I get the most arguments. People love to argue about this one. And I understand it. It's a little tough. So, because there are people in the world that their best might not be something you understand. Their best might not be something you agree with. Their best might be something you actually criticize and find wrong. And that's very easy to do in this day and age, with the political climate as it is, with the challenges about climate change and the different opinions that come from the different sides of the aisle, from the racism. There are so many things in our face. COVID-19, to get vaccinated, not to get vaccinated, to wear masks, to not wear masks, the explosion of emotions, of opinions, and of fierce judgment that people are righteous about. It's all over the place. The climate around this subject is really hard. It's really hard. I was talking to someone the other day, a good friend of mine, and I was saying how, because I'm scheduling a retreat, a women's retreat, and if you want any information about that, reach out to me. And I'm doing this women's retreat, and I did not think about asking for. If you put up my Rev Jersey Girl, Diego, that would be helpful. Thank you. And I did not. Thanks, love. I did not put in the invite, the initial invite. It was information gathering that people would be required to be vaccinated. And so a couple people mentioned that to me about requiring it. And somebody said people should provide proof. And I thought to myself, wow, I never thought that way. And my soul is in pain right now, not because somebody wants to vaccinate or not vaccinate. I don't have a lot of opinions about other people's lives. I'm not that kind of a person. I don't think, never mind. Let me not go down that road. But my soul hurts out of how much we have separated, out of the amount of criticism. It has been so hard. And that's just a personal thing for me, because something about who I've been in the world, it pains me to try to, if I have to separate, if I have to find fault, if I have to critique someone, even when it's appropriate, it's painful for me. So I just say that to you. So even in the middle of all this, we're being pit against each other in the most unusual ways. And you might think I'm completely off the mark here. So be it. Because you know what? I'm doing my best, and I'm not being funny, but I am. See, life can be hard. Yes, that's right. The best is not the same from one moment to the next, but life can be hard and challenging. Yeah, thank you, Kate. Challenging and tough. Life can be hard. And then what happens is you make a mistake. You say something wrong, you react. And then what happens is you make something up about yourself, especially as children. Children make mistakes, and they're surprised sometimes by an adult's reaction. And then what happens is that adult reaction creates something within that child, and they make something up about themselves. Anyone watching, I know you have done this. We have all done it. It might be as simple as your mother or father critiquing you for something really simple, very, very simple. But you, in that moment, felt so wrong. You felt wrong. And so you made up something about yourself. So what happens is we make a mistake, and then we make up an opinion about ourselves. And this is the worst part. We confuse making a mistake with being a mistake. Catch that? We confuse making a mistake with being a mistake. Just like we confuse being wrong, but thinking our being is wrong. I can be wrong. I can make mistakes. I need to apologize. I fail. I say the wrong thing. All of that's true. But what matters is that I don't take that in myself as if my being is wrong. And I bet some of you right now, I guarantee it, that some of you are right now are suffering unconsciously about things that you didn't question as true from when you were young. Someone said something, you believed it because you weren't taught to question it. Most of us weren't taught to question it. You weren't taught to question it, and you took it on as fact. And then it has become part of how you see yourself, how you present yourself, how you engage with the world. That breaks my heart and I know that happens, and I know it happens everywhere. It's why I'm very, 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 very careful with my grandchildren. I tried to be, the older I got as I became a parent, as but my first child was my test run, my poor son Michael, what he had to deal with me. My second son, I started to get it. And then my third son, I felt pretty confident about how I was because I started to really understand my impact and my role upon him in the world. And with my grandchildren at the at the ripe age of 64, and with my grandchildren, I really show up differently. So I want to go on to another part of it, but I didn't stop to do my commercial break that I like to do. And please, if you're watching and if you have never donated money before, make today that day. Make today the day that you say, I like this information. I like this radio station. Maybe you've listened to the radio. If you have not listened to the radio side of the New Thought Media Network, you're missing something wonderful. They play uplifting, positive music all day long, 24 hours a day. It's the kind of radio station you don't have to shut off with some music because the messages are all so wonderful. So please, 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 whether it's now or later, New Thought or ntmedia.org, donate, give to this radio station. Okay. Are there arrogant, narcissistic a-holes in the world? I was almost going to say it. Are there? Yep, there are. Yeah, they exist. But let me ask you something. If a child is born with a limp, a child is born with maybe half a leg, okay? Thank God for today's technology. But if a child is born with half a leg, at the point that children start to walk, crawl and walk, do you have the same expectations of that child as you would of a child with all their capabilities and all their limbs? My guess is your answer is no. The problem with a lot of mental illness and things like narcissism is that the person looks normal. People look normal. So while they're looking normal, you have normal expectations. And then you're consistently disappointed. Consistently. And because they look normal, your expectations don't change because they look the way they look, and you're thinking they should know better. Well, if someone doesn't know better, they don't know better. Whether it's someone who's narcissistic or arrogant or unkind, there are people with pain, and pain speaks through pain. Hurt people hurt people. We know this. We know this. And if you're listening here or any of the prayer sessions that they have all over every day, all the time, please join me in being one of the people that we're the change agents, where while we might not always know what to do or quite how to handle things, we choose to accept that other people are suffering and they speak from their suffering, that it's not intentional. This is an opportunity to promote and to grow your practice of compassion. Please, dear God, be someone who wants to make a difference. Be someone that when something happens in your life, that before you speak, before you let a word come out of your mouth, you ask yourself, who do I want to be here? What do I want to live? What do I want to leave behind? When I walk out of this room, What's the impression that I want to leave in the room? How do I want to impact that person who's before me? And so when we ask these questions, we raise our awareness, and we raise the kindness of the planet. So being in this kind of practice is a practice of forgiveness. It is a practice. And speaking of which, so there's two things I want to say to you. Number one, I am still currently teaching a course. It started last week, but you could still get in on it, called No Mud, No Lotus, A Journey into Forgiveness. And this course is beautiful and deep and profound. And the people in it are dedicated to being free, free from their pain, free from their judgments, free from their righteousness. Freedom all around. And I strongly encourage you to join me now or the next time. Okay. The other thing is, we're looking for children between the ages of like 7 and 11. And in that age group, we are doing the 4 agreements for non-adults. Okay? 4 agreements for non-adults. Imagine being able to give the gift of this course, which is going to happen on 5 Sunday. I only have it in East Coast time right now, folks. So if you're in the West Coast, you probably don't want to get your child up at 6:30 in the morning. It starts at 9:30 in the morning. It's where we moved it back 1 week to the 26th of September. Oh, the course, if you want to join the course, Kate, the link is there for the No Mud, No Lotus. By the way, if anybody who out there, if you are a counselor, a coach, a therapist, a practitioner, a minister, that course is perfect for you. Perfect. Regarding the 4 agreements, and I do believe that link is in the show credits and all of that. But you can always reach out to me directly. There you go. Find links in show description. And my email address is revjerseygirl@gmail.com. You can always contact me directly. But the 4 agreements for non-adults, imagine giving this gift to your children or your grandchildren, or giving it to a friend, to the child of a friend. I really ask you to share the word of this course. We're giving it. I mean, we're only charging $20, and if that $20 it weighs heavy on somebody, we will waive it. It's not about the money. It is a little bit about having an investment. But if you know of someone with a child at that age, in that age group, we've been asked to do it for a little older group, but that's down the road. If you have somebody between like 7 or 11, or if they're really kind of calm and present, 6-year-old, if they can sit, it's only 30 minutes. 30 minutes on 5 Sunday mornings. And the 5th Sunday morning is because we want the adults there so we can debrief with the children and the adults. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be wonderful. Imagine learning. I'm doing my teary thing that I do. Imagine learning at a young age not to take something personally. Oh my gosh. Imagine not waiting till you're 20, 30, 40, 60. That, wow, I can actually not take something on. How powerful. And the thing about the 4 agreements and how it works together with the science of mind and how it works together with all metaphysical teachings is this, folks. If you are challenged right now with poor health, health is natural. Healing is natural. But in order to access the natural flow of healing, health, and wholeness, you have to clear the pathway. So when you take on practices like the four agreements, not, all of the agreements, what happens is you clear out the mud, you clear out the muck. So spirit can move through you, giving you an opportunity to find healing, to find wholeness, because it's natural. It's your divine birthright, for God's sake. You're supposed to be healthy. Get that. You're supposed to be healthy. It's natural. It's natural for the body to heal. We get in the way of it. We get in the way. And the four agreements is a great way to clear up the muck and the mire that spirit has to move through in order to demonstrate the miraculous. So here's my encouragement again. The Four Agreements is a little tiny book. I have given away many in my lifetime. If it's already in your life and it's already in your practice, fantastic. If it is not, get the book, read it over and over. And don't read it too fast. Just read an agreement one agreement at a time. Pay close attention to the whole domestication and how Don Miguel kind of spells it out. Expect shift to happen. Expect shift. Because when we stop finding fault and we stop taking things personally, we stop finding fault and we stop placing blame, all this free space opens up in us, all this freedom of movement, and it becomes sweet, very sweet. Love, abundance, an abundance of love. The shift has hit the fan. Yes. Oh, that's funny. But if either you're going to be either we're busy being angry and we're busy being righteous and we're busy finding fault, or we're busy in love. And God knows the world needs more of that. And okay, I'm going to say a couple more things. Right now, someone's sitting here listening to me and you're thinking to yourself, well, what about abuse? And what about abusers? What about all that stuff? Did they do their best? And that's one question, number one. And then I also have people say to me, I admit, I know I didn't do my best. I know I didn't. I could have done better. Let's start with that one first. I want to say to you, I believe if you could have done better, you would have done better. If you could have, you would have. It's a little Jersey for you. If you could have done better, you would have. If you didn't, and you opted for an option that harmed, there was something compelling you. Even there, you deserve forgiveness and patience and love and compassion. The consciousness that you live in now is different from the consciousness that you lived in another time. The consciousness that allowed you to make many of your mistakes is not who you are now. So I don't know about you. I have an iPhone. Just got a brand new iPhone. Brand spanking new iPhone. Love it. Okay. Your phone upgrades on a regular basis. When it upgrades, it doesn't expect me to behave with this phone the way it did when I first bought an iPhone many years ago. When our consciousness expands and our awareness grows, and we keep practicing and we keep our practices in place, that expansion allows us to function differently in the world. When we function differently, we show up differently. You probably are not going to go back to the behavior of 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. You're very most likely going to be happy in the behavior of this now person, this now consciousness. Okay? Number one, that's very important. Let's go to the tough conversation. What about abusers? And this one, I could not talk about this to you if I didn't know it personally. I do know it personally. And I'm just making stuff up right now. Trying not to be too Jersey on you. I'm making stuff up. MSU. I believe that my father, if he could have managed to be different, he would have. I believe if my father and my mother, to some degree, with some of the mistakes, if they could have managed to not function from their pain, they would have. I believe that in my heart, in my soul. And what I know is, and we're going to go back to this again, hurt people. Hurt people. Cue Bob Simon's song. Whole people behave differently. Healed people behave differently. I want to be careful. I don't want to negate your experience. I don't want to minimize what's happened to you if something's happened to you. But I do believe if you suffered at the hands of a perpetrator of any kind, I do believe that that perpetrator is also hurting, needing love, needing forgiveness, needing compassion. You can choose to give it or not. But if you choose not to, remember that lives inside of you because you carry it. You have to carry it. So in that forgiveness course that I spoke about, we're very clear that when we hold on to something, we are the ones suffering. I am the one suffering. I forgive for my peace of mind. I forgive for my freedom. I forgive because I want to love. I want to be able to laugh out loud, authentically, without concern. And I can do that more and more and more by not retaining my righteousness, by not retaining blame, by not finding fault. This does not mean I don't have opinions, folks. This does not mean I don't make mistakes. This does not mean sometimes I don't get pissed off. I do. But I move through it very quickly. I return to my center point quickly. And that's what you get to do if you practice. And I'm going to hesitate for a minute to see if there's any questions. If there's any questions that anyone wants to ask while you're watching. And if you don't, that's fine. No problem. And I'll just keep chatting, in case you do want to ask a question. Oops, sorry about that. And I want to tell you, as we're getting ready to sign off here, that next week, I'm happy to tell you that we have the beloved Reverend Marie Kirkland coming to you here. And then the following week, I have this another sweet surprise, Jessie Powers. And you've maybe seen her all over Facebook. She just launched her new CD, and she'll be here with me on Jersey Girl Wisdom. And we are coming up, not yet. I think it's in October. I don't know if we said November or October was the 1 year anniversary. And on the 1 year anniversary, we'll be planning a lovely, really lovely show, and much bigger than the other shows I've done. And we'll have some guests from all over the place on that show. So since no questions, Wayne is asking, am I challenged to walk your talk? I don't feel challenged. I feel devoted. So it doesn't feel like a challenge. I am extremely aware of the reward of being in the practice. I am extremely aware of the reward of forgiveness, compassion, love, self-forgiveness. I'm so clear about those rewards because I'm dedicated to them. I don't feel challenged. I feel blessed to have freed myself from as much stuff as I have freed myself from. So I thank you for being here today for the 4 agreements. If you haven't bought the book, please do so. Use it. If you have children in your life or grandchildren, please support the course by sending people. If you could put my link up, thank you. There you go, 4 agreements for non-adults. If I can be of service to you, prayer, coaching, whatever it is, just write to me at revjerseygirl@gmail.com. I'm here. Oh, hello, Sandy. Actually, Sandy is in my coaching program, and she's learning to become a forgiveness coach. We have a number of people who are becoming forgiveness coaches. So we are going to set the world on fire with mass love, mass self-love and self-forgiveness and forgiveness of others. So I love you. Please be well, be happy, and be brilliant. And I'll speak to you next week. See you then. Bye.
The Awake Shop by Rev Skip. Inspiration you can wear. Hats, mugs, hoodies, and tees. Visit theawakeshop.org today. Get in the flow with Rev Skip and Chad Bradford.
When you're in the flow, have faith that a transformation can happen. Love yourself through every step. Be open and willing to have a new experience.
Faith, love, openness, and willingness. You're in the flow.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.